So this is going to be my main focus for today, is that to get from where we are to where God wants us to go, there's going to be battles to fight and obstacles to overcome. The purpose of those battles is to get us prepared for what God plans for us to do. So let's go back to that first point. God has a plan or a purpose in your life. Now, with David, that was no big deal. Back in those days, his calling was really easy. So we're really not going to talk about him that much right here, because all he did was he had a little wiry guy with white hair that came up and poured oil all over his hair and his clothes and messed him up and said, "You're going to be the next king of Israel." Then he got back on his donkey and he went to Ramah. So whether it was with pomp and circumstance or anything else, there were no angels, I don't think, that made themselves visible at the moment. But David's calling was clear to him from a very early age. In fact, when that happened, a lot of theologians think he was about 13 years old. That is not old when you find out you're going to be the next president of the United States. But let's set him off to the side for a second and let's talk about us. That's what we love to do anyway, right? So what's your purpose? And how do you find out? Now, we have been blessed here because my next statement is God speaks to us. And God has divinely ordered our speaking platform in such a way that just last week, Representative Mitch Little got up here and he was talking about how God speaks to us. So I'm going to give you 4 little highlights. I'm not going to go into a lot of depth about it because he's already done that. And I would encourage you, if you have not heard it, go on our website and look. It is an amazing message. And if you have heard it, you might want to just do it again, because I picked up some things the second time that I missed on the first one. But the 4 things basically that he taught, that if you want to hear from God, you want to be in his presence. You also want to be around other mature Christians who can verify and confirm what you think you heard. And if you're not hearing, don't forget to ask God to speak. Because a lot of times we have not because we ask not. And then the last thing is be ready to act on what you hear. He mentioned the Hebrew word Shema, which means listen and obey, all in the same word. So your next action after you hear from God is going to be really important, because that's going to help you create your testimony. But watch out. I got warning labels all over this, because if you find out that the God of the universe will talk back to you when you pray, that's going to be more addictive than Instagram and TikTok thrown together. You're going to be praying on your way to work. You're going to be praying in the car on the way home. You're going to be praying in the shower. Before long, if you're not careful, you're going to pray without ceasing.
Come on, Meredith. Let's go.
All right. So that takes us to point 2. Now, before I get to point 2, I want to say something really quick. God does not create hardships in our life. I want to be clear about that. If you trip over something and fall down on your way out of here today, God didn't put that thing in front of you. He doesn't create the hardships that we experience, but he does use them. And sometimes he uses them so well that it looks like it was all part of his plan. But the truth of the matter is, he's not sitting there with a BB gun trying to shoot us off our horse and see what we're going to do after he's already given us the command to go. That just doesn't happen.